Breaking. Biden admin will use Homeland Security as well as other federal agencies and local agencies and partnerships with schools to fight anti-Semitism, anti-Zionism. That's awesome. That's great, man. Thank you. That Israel has not agreed to is because if they were to detail such things, it would make Israel look really fucking bad. Okay? Because as is the case with the so-called peace process, the bullshit peace process, where Israel claimed for years and years, and American media also obviously defended Israel's false claims for years and years that they had no partner in peace amongst the Palestinian population, okay? They always are resistant to making deals that everyone would recognize as like just. It's much easier to just details of any of these peace negotiations or any of the ceasefire negotiations and simply just say Hamas is saying no to it. And it's like, but what is Israel saying? Israel is saying, we don't really give a fuck about the peace process. We're just not going to stop killing you. Once we extract the hostages, we're going to keep bombing you anyway. As a matter of fact, we're going to keep bombing you with the hostages. We don't give a fuck about the hostages. Fuck the hostages. We just want to kill you. We want to kill you over and over again. That's what Israel keeps saying. And the media plays this song and dance. The media plays this song and dance, making it seem as though the situation on the ground and the Israeli opinions are something different than what they are openly communicating to everyone that is interested in hearing what their desires are. That's what's so crazy about it. American media is like, Israel is trying to put together favorable deals, favorable conditions for a ceasefire, and Hamas seemingly keeps throwing that aside, keeps casting it aside. State Department said Hamas made edits, so it wasn't the real agreement. I know. Ironic because the fucking CIA was involved in the deal-making process. But of course, as always, they turn around and say, no, actually, never mind. It was actually the Hamas guys that changed the terms and conditions of the agreement without ever talking about what the terms of the agreement are. It's ridiculous. It's always ridiculous, dude. You hear what Anthony Blinken says in public every time there's a camera on him. He openly will state that it is actually Israel that's bringing forward perfectly valid, perfectly reasonable conditions. What are those conditions? Give us the hostages and we're going to kill you. As a matter of fact, fuck the hostages. We're going to kill you anyway, and we'll kill the hostages. That's literally what Israel has been saying since October 7th. That's what Israel's been saying since October 7th, and that's what Israel's been doing since October 7th. Also, yeah, I can't wait for this. Mahdi Hasan went on Abby Phillips to fucking absolutely eviscerate Frankenstein's monster, John Concuncrius, my favorite demon, senior fellow at the FDD, by the way, obviously, the Foundation for Defense of Democracies, one of the fucking most rabid think tanks out there. And also the former IDF spokesperson. I guess he unloaded too hard, so they fucking took him out. But before we do that, let's listen to President Biden's speech on anti-Semitism. Biden speaks on anti-Semitism at the Holocaust Remembrance Ceremony. Now, obviously, never miss a good opportunity to fucking defend Israel and say that all of Israel's haters are anti-Semites, even in memoriam of the fucking Holocaust, okay? Which is so goddamn gross. Straight up, I'll say it. It is so unimaginably gross. Unimaginably gross, where the parallels do not benefit Israel in this argument, okay? The parallels do not benefit Israel in this argument at all, considering that Israel is infinitely closer to Nazi Germany, both in its nationalistic mythos, both in its nationalistic fervor, and its ethnic cleansing campaign, its deliberate ethnic cleansing campaign that it's currently conducting over a population that it has imprisoned in perpetuity. But of course, he's going to turn around and be like, well, the Holocaust happened, and the Holocaust would happen again if Israel didn't do its own version of the Holocaust to the fucking Palestinian population. Not to the same degree as the Holocaust, of course, but maybe one day, who knows?
Thank you, Zen. Please. Thank you, Stu Eisenstadt, for that introduction, for your leadership in the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum.
It's wild considering that there are so many Holocaust survivors in the United States of America that have openly put their fucking bodies on the line, both historically been critical of Israel's actions and are still doing that now, by the way. So honoring their legacy is something that Biden could do, but of course he won't do that because he's a fucking rabid Zionist.
True scholar and statesman and a dear friend. Speaker Johnson, Leader Jeffries, members of Congress, and especially the survivors of the Holocaust. My mother here, she'd look at you and say, God love you all. God love you all. Abe Foxman and all other survivors who embody absolute courage and dignity and grace are here as well. During these sacred days of remembrance, we grieve, we give voice to the 6 million Jews who were systematically targeted and murdered by the Nazis and their collaborators during World War II. We honor the memory of victims, the pain of survivors, the bravery of heroes who stood up to Hitler's unspeakable evil, and we recommit to heading and heeding the lessons that one of the darkest chapters.
No, you didn't. You're not learning the lessons of the Holocaust at all. You are currently participating in your version of an ethnic cleansing campaign, and you have been funding and facilitating it and defending it and routinely egging it on and also offering political cover. So no, you didn't learn the lessons at all from the fucking Holocaust, dipshit. Jesus Christ, dude. The weaponization is so unimaginably cruel. It's so fucked up. It is so fucked up, dude. Nothing else to say about it.
In human history, to revitalize and realize the responsibility of never again. Never again, simply translated for me, means never forget. Never forget.
Wait, what? Never again simply translates for me, never forget? No, dude. Never again means never again, as in no more genocide, okay, across the board. Never again doesn't mean only remember the Holocaust and also all of the other ethnic cleansing campaigns that are occurring around the world currently, and one, that Israel is doing themselves, is actually perfectly valid. Only remember the Holocaust. He mixed it up with 9/11.
Never forgetting means we must keep telling the story. We must keep teaching the truth. We must keep teaching our children and our grandchildren. And the truth is, we're at risk of people not knowing the truth. That's why growing up, my dad taught me and my siblings about the horrors of the Shoah at our family dinner table. That's why I visited Yad Vashem with my family as a senator, as vice president, and as president. And that's why I took my grandchildren to Dachau so they could see and bear witness to the perils of indifference, the complicity of silence in the face of evil that they knew was happening. Germany, 1933. Hitler and his Nazi party rise to power by rekindling one of the world's oldest forms of prejudice and hate, anti-Semitism. His rule didn't begin with mass murder. It started slowly across economic.
I have a controversial take on this. I think that saying true things about the Holocaust in an effort to defend Israel now is almost fucking worse than Nazis who deliberately deny it. Because then you are casting doubt on the minds of people who don't know that, like, that this shit is in their eyes only used as a weapon, to cynically defend Israel's current actions. It is so gross. It is so indefensible. And this is precisely how you create more anti-Semitism. It's so fucked up, dude. This is something I think Brace and Liz were talking about on their True and On episode about the anti-Semitism bill and the IHRA definition, where Liz brought up a really good point, where she said, like, an entire generation. What will happen to an entire generation who now only learn about the Holocaust as and see it from the framework of, like, why Israel has to be doing a genocide right now? Like, what will happen? What will happen to those people? How will they learn? How will they see this as anything but a cynical way in which Israel is defending their own ethnic cleansing campaign? It is very dangerous. It's very dangerous to think of.
Political, social, and cultural life. Propaganda demonizing Jews. Boycotts of Jewish businesses. Synagogues defaced with swastikas. Harassment of Jews in the street. And
careful about this when reading it, but there are Palestinians that don't believe it happened because Israel lies about so much they think that it's just used to kill them. I mean, yeah, that's how you breed fucking anti-Semitism. That's how you develop anti-Semitism, by associating the actions of the Israeli state with Jews in general. This is, of course, not normal or permissible or good. I'm saying that it is objectively bad. That is my argument, is that it is incredibly damaging. And I think that because we are so warped by short-term thinking and short-term goals, that we unironically never consider the long-term consequences of this. Okay?
Schools, anti-Semitic demonstrations, pogroms, organized riots. With the indifference of the world, Hitler knew he could expand his reign of terror by eliminating Jews from Germany, to annihilate Jews across Europe through genocide, the Nazis called the final solution. Concentration camps.
Oh, wonderful. Tomorrow was supposed to be the deadline for the report on whether Israel has violated U.S. and international humanitarian law during the war in Gaza, and it's apparently been delayed indefinitely. Oh, that's cool, man. One could say that Zionism helps anti-Semitism more than it helps Jewish people. Of course. I mean, I have been saying that. I am the one who has been saying that. Zionism is inherently anti-Semitic because it fucking singles out Jewish people as monolithic and only allows discourse within the acceptable confines of Israel being a Jewish ethno-state. It literally does not allow any kind of criticism beyond that. If you say Israel cannot be a democracy as it maintains an ethno-state, a Jewish ethno-state, okay, with demographic concerns that must maintain an apartheid regime on occupied territory, all of a sudden, that's completely outside of the boundaries of, like, permissible discourse, which is immediately declared anti-Semitic. Breaking. Biden admin will use Homeland Security as well as other federal agencies and local agencies and partnerships with schools to fight anti-Semitism, anti-Zionism. That's awesome. That's great, man. Thank you. This definitely, this surely will not have horrifying repercussions. I like that we've substituted McCarthyism now and repackaged it in this way. Multiple journalists asked during the State Department briefing today about the report, and they said it could still come out tomorrow or have a slight delay. It's fucking gross.
Gas chambers, mass shootings. By the time the war ended, 6 million Jews, 1 out of every 3 Jews in the entire world, were murdered. This ancient hatred of Jews didn't begin with the Holocaust. It didn't end with the Holocaust either, or even after our victory in World War II. This hatred continues to lie deep in the hearts of too many people in the world, and it requires our continued vigilance.
This is what it's like, why are you supporting anti-Semitism? No, I'm supporting the top of the hour ad break debates getting better, okay? That's what I'm supporting. I'm supporting the chat. Every moment that you send me the shittiest bait possible, I'm supporting the chat getting better. Because at the top of the hour, there's a 3-minute ad break, and some of you think that you can bait me in this regard. And honestly, I support chat getting better. That's why I deflect away. That's why I parry. That's why I riposte, okay? And that's why I serve you the 3-minute ad break at the top of the hour, demanding that you get better. Better baits. Something that makes me go, God damn, you got me. Okay? I'm like Neo in the Matrix, dude, the way I'm fucking dodging those goddamn ad break debates that come at the top of every hour. Here's the 3-minute ad break. Now, by the way, like I said, if you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe for $5 or for free with a Twitch Prime, or by getting gifted a sub. Here's the 3-minute ad break now.
And outspokenness. That hatred was brought to life on October 7th in 2023.
Worth noting that for those who don't know, the Second Lebanon War on August 11, 2006, hours after the UNSC unanimously passed Resolution 1701, calling for an immediate ceasefire, which Hezbollah accepted, Israel launched a broad offensive trying to push Hezbollah out of the south. It was a massive failure on all fronts, and 2 days later, Israel accepted the resolution ending the war. Definitely not saying the same will happen here, but you can see the parallels. Yeah, like, even what Israel did with Iran is like a fucking petulant child. You know what I mean? Trying to get the last word. Like, you demand your kid in the back seat stop kicking the fucking seat, and then he just like, he stops, but he still does like one little baby kick right before he stops in tears. It's so like, it's so stupid. It's just an entire nation brain broken by constantly trying to posture as a mighty force. That like, it sometimes does operate like a child having a temper tantrum. It's so crazy.
On a sacred Jewish holiday, the terrorist group Hamas unleashed the deadliest day of the Jewish people since the Holocaust. Driven by ancient desire to wipe out the Jewish people off the face of the earth, over 1,200 innocent people, babies.
With that understanding, what would you do if you were born Israeli? Brother, it's super simple. Like, we are all obviously genuinely brain broken by the consistent propaganda that we're fed. Okay? Americans have white supremacy to contend with. Americans have our own version of the indigenous genocide and chattel slavery and its consistent defense to deal with. What I do here is basically try to, you know, rewrite people's programming to the best of my ability on all of those fronts. And it's the same for the Jews living in Israel that have learned about Zionism being an epic myth that they need to carry on. Israel has to be strong. Israel's in a bad neighborhood. You just have to look at all of the cruelty and try to address it, and try to understand that it is, you know, being done to women and children, men, all of these people that have the exact same interest that you do, right? If you are a Jewish person growing up in Israel, you have so many different ways of meeting this reality. You have so many different ways of seeing it. I mean, there's anti-Zionist Jews in here that are in Israel that could probably speak to that a little bit better. I don't know what they're like, what their understanding and how their understanding changed over the course of many years. But ultimately, you know, if you can unlearn transphobia and racism, then yes, Israelis can also unlearn their rabid support for Zionism and the way that they see the Palestinians as like a blight that must be removed, and move away from that and recognize that they are also human beings with dreams, with goals that deserve a life of dignity, that yearn for emancipation, just like we all do. The United States plays a bigger role in perpetuating Zionism than Israelis subject to endless propaganda. No, United States plays a bigger role in perpetuating Zionism globally, and they are the most important power player here. But obviously, Zionist propaganda is the starting point and the end point in Israel. There's nothing else. Like, it's baked into the nation state's development.
Parents, grandparents, slaughtered in their kibbutz, massacred at a music festival, brutally raped, mutilated, and sexually assaulted. Thousands more.
Dude, bringing October 7 up during the fucking remembrance of the Shoah is like so nutty, especially considering that like the atrocities that occurred on October 7 did not happen in a fucking vacuum, and there is a parallel that you can literally draw to the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising. Like, this is not exactly a controversial opinion either, by the way. What's his name? Amichai Alom, the former Shin Bet, the former head of Shin Bet, Israel's interior security guy, openly has said, alongside many other former Israeli and current Israeli leaders that are in positions of power, that like they too, Ami Ayalon, Ami Ayalon said that of course they would join Hamas. If they were on the other side of that fucking border wall, they would be participating in October 7. Of course, they're like, yeah, well, why the fuck wouldn't we? Are you kidding me? Yeah, of course. I want freedom. I want emancipation. No matter the cost. October 7 itself is already an act of desperation. Ehud Barak once said, yeah, if I were a Palestinian of the right age, I would join at some point one of the terrorist groups. Yep. The reason why I always factor in the second part of this equation, because like the number one motivator, obviously, the number one motivator for people getting on board with the Israeli ethnic cleansing project is Islamophobia and anti-Arab sentiment, right? They're enemies. They're truly evil. They're scary. However, there's another sentiment oftentimes expressed by those in positions of power in Israel, and that is might is right politics. They literally see it as like game recognized game. It's like distorted and fucked up. But they actually see it as like, yeah, no, we are doing this to them because they would do it to us if they had the power. So it's perfectly righteous for us to do this to them. Now, obviously, there's no proof that they would do the same things to Israel if they had the capabilities, right? No proof whatsoever. But that's where that might is right attitude comes from. And that's why you hear so many people, including Ehud Barak, including Ami Ayalon, openly state that they would join Hamas or one of the many different resistance groups if they were on the other side of the fucking border wall.
Carrying wounds, bullets and shrapnel from the memory of that terrible day they endured. Hundreds taken hostage, including survivors of the Shoah. Now, here we are, not 75 years later, but just 7.5 months later, and people are already forgetting. They're already forgetting.
Dude, you can't think like this. I mean, you can't be saying this shit unless you literally just think that, like, only Jews are human in that region. Like, anyone who's not Jewish is just not human and deserves whatever the fuck Israel is doing. Like, the only people that Biden sees as real human beings is Israelis, okay? Sometimes the Bedouin, but like mostly just Israeli Jews for the most part. That's it. Like, what do you mean people are forgetting? No, dog, people aren't forgetting. People never had an opportunity to grieve, okay? There are anti-Zionist Jews, both in Israel and also all around the fucking world, who lost friends, family members, people that they love that are fucking captured and stuck in Gaza. They didn't have a moment to breathe. They didn't have a moment to grieve. Why? Because Israel immediately was like, oh, hell yeah, let's fucking go, dog. Oh, we were waiting for this goddamn moment, and immediately started doing an October 7 pretty much every fucking day for the past 7 months. It's fucking bullshit. The idea that, like, people forgot about October 7, they need to be reminded every fucking day, is so ridiculous. What Israel's doing on October 7 every fucking day since October 7. Jesus Christ, dude. It's been 7.5 fucking months of nonstop bombing and ethnic cleansing, and this fucking wrinkled ballsack is still over here talking about October 7. Remember October 7, though? Remember October 7? You cannot personally fucking believe that this is a valid thing to say here unless you just legitimately don't think that Palestinians are human beings. You just don't think that they're human beings at all. You think that they are deserving of the ethnic cleansing. It's crazy. And most people don't feel that way. Even Islamophobic people don't feel that way because they look and they go, okay, dude, like, I was with it until we hit the 15,000 child murder mark. You know what I mean? And now I feel like it's a little bridge too far. Many people go, I was with it when you killed 200 humanitarian aid workers, but when you killed 7 white humanitarian aid workers that are from my neighborhood or from my country, then I was like, okay, it's a bridge too far. Perhaps that's the reason why people have forgotten about October 7, despite your obvious attempts to consistently weaponize it alongside the fucking Holocaust to justify Israel's actions. Holy fuck. Mathematically, I don't think that's true, but I get what you're trying to say. Yes, I don't think, yes, Israel has not killed 1,200 people every day since October 7, obviously.
That Hamas unleashed this terror.
I gotta pee.
It was Hamas that brutalized Israelis. It was Hamas who took and continues to hold hostages. I have not forgotten, nor have you, and we will not forget. And as Jews around the world still cope with the atrocities and trauma of that day and its aftermath, we've seen a ferocious surge of anti-Semitism in America and around the world. Vicious propaganda on social media. Jews forced to keep their hide, their keepers under baseball hats, tuck their Jewish stars into their shirts. On college campuses, Jewish students blocked, harassed, attacked while walking to class. Anti-Semitism, anti-Semitic posters, slogans calling for the annihilation of Israel, the world's only Jewish state. Too many people denying, downplaying, rationalizing, ignoring the horrors of the Holocaust. And October 7th, including Hamas's appalling use of sexual violence to torture and terrorize Jews. It's absolutely despicable. It must stop. Silence. Silence and denial can hide much, but it can erase nothing. Some injustices are so heinous, so horrific, so grievous, they cannot be buried, no matter how hard people try. In my view, a major lesson of the Holocaust is, as mentioned earlier, was not inevitable. We know hate never goes away, it only hides. And given a little oxygen, it comes out from under the rocks. We also know what stops hate. One thing, all of us. The late Rabbi Jonathan Sachs described anti-Semitism as a virus that has survived and mutated over time. Together, we cannot continue to let that happen. We have to remember our basic principles as a nation. We have an obligation. We have an obligation to learn the lessons of history so we don't surrender our future to the horrors of the past. We must give hate no safe harbor against anyone. Anyone. From the very founding, our very founding, Jewish Americans, who represent only about 2% of the U.S. population, have helped lead the cause of freedom for everyone in our nation. From that experience, we know scapegoating and demonizing any minority is a threat to every minority and the very foundation of our democracy. So in moments like this, we have to put these principles that we're talking about into action. I understand people have strong beliefs and deep convictions about the world. In America, we respect and protect the fundamental right to free speech, to debate and disagree, to protest peacefully and make our voices heard. I understand that's America, but there is no place on any campus in America, any place in America, for anti-Semitism or hate speech or threats of violence of any kind.
That's awesome. Yeah, you can protest. It's just not against Israel. Okay, you understand? We've decided arbitrarily that saying Israel's doing a genocide is anti-Semitic. We've decided arbitrarily in the most anti-Semitic way possible that, like, Israel represents the international Jewry and its opinion across the board and its best interests across the board. We've decided arbitrarily that all Jews defend Israel unconditionally across the board, and therefore any criticism of Israel is actually akin to criticizing Jewish people. Not even criticizing Jewish people, but instead actually just saying anti-Semitic shit. You said Israel isn't doing it on October 7th every day, but I ran the numbers based on Israel and Gaza's populations. 40K killed in the last 213 days. Israel is doing 78% of an October 7 every day per capita. Jesus. Yeah. Turning the whole dual loyalty trope on his head, fucking libs, man. It's ironic because he's more fucking loyal to Israel than American Jews are. There's a shit ton of American Jews that are getting arrested by this fucking asshole right now. That's the funniest part. Well, I guess not that funny, but it is hilarious in a very dark way that, like, he has a higher level of loyalty to Israel than almost every single Jewish person under the age of 35, okay? Like 100%. It's insane. He's literally over here advocating to fucking arrest young Jews. Having a fucking dude, having a Catholic dipshit that's 800 fucking years old talk about the Holocaust on these conditions and on these terms, while simultaneously demanding that, like, young Jews on college campuses that dared defy American interests in the region and speak out against Israel be arrested violently is insane. You got Holocaust survivors that fucking protest this shit. That's right, Jack. If you don't vote for me, you're not black. And if you don't love Israel, then you're not a Jew. I'm the real black guy here, all right? And just like I'm the real Jew. Joe Biden. Damn, Time Without an OEO got clapped. To be honest, I don't know how you can deprogram Israelis. I can't help but think there's a long conversation I had with my centrist dad years ago. For 2 hours or so, I explained to him, down to the minutiae, the ethnic cleansing and apartheid in the West Bank. At the end, he just said, okay, sure. But then maybe they shouldn't be there, question mark. Endless layers of mythology let you avoid questioning Zionism, but beneath it all, it's still there nonetheless. Listen, fat. I don't know why I can't untime you out. Oh, never mind. You are untimed out. Okay. Biden said never again means I'll buy the next round. Yeah. Do you think Bernie was the closest possibility to at least a decent president? I mean, it doesn't matter. This is... I don't think that there is like a actual way to remove American interest in American imperialism. Like there's just I don't know. The least you can do is try to do your very best and just hope it inevitably succumbs under its own weight of its own contradictions. There's like, I don't think there's a singular force that can like single-handedly destroy American empire.
Whether against Jews or anyone else. Violent attacks.
Well, not Palestinians, though. They had it coming.
Destroying property is not peaceful protest. It's against the law. And we are not a lawless country. We're a civil society. We uphold the rule of law. And no one should have to hide or be brave just to be themselves. To the Jewish community, I want you to know, I see your fear, your hurt, and your pain. Let me reassure you, as your president, you're not alone. You belong. You always have and you always will. And my commitment to the safety of the Jewish people, the security...
I mean, you literally said a couple of months ago that if Israel didn't exist, no Jew would be safe around the world. As the president of a country that has historically defended Jewish people, well, sometimes did some really fucked up shit to Jewish people as well, especially like telling a bunch of Jewish refugees to fuck off and send their asses back to the Holocaust, you know. But at least now, a country where almost as many Jews as Israel live in, you are the president of said nation, the largest Jewish diaspora, the largest Jewish nation, okay? The nation with the highest population of Jewish people in it, and you're over here being like, yeah, they are not safe. I can't keep them safe. I can't keep you safe. I'll try my best, but I can't do it. Only Israel. Just such an insane fucking thing to say.
Of Israel and its right to exist as an independent Jewish state is ironclad, even when we disagree. He was also given honorary U.S. citizenship, only the second person ever after Winston Churchill. The Holocaust Museum here in Washington is located in a role.
Bro, I love that this chatter just said, I love that this other chatter, our Israeli chatter, just said, you've actually changed. I've spoken to a lot of Israeli Jews whose mind you've changed and convinced into anti-Zionism. And this guy went, stop giving airtime to these idiots and take action that could potentially make a difference. What's his attitude on this? Get your chat to share Macklemore Hins Hall music video. I'm begging you. Less talk, more action. Hey, Hasan, I know you're currently covering the at least hypocrisy in the American argument of tying the actions of Israel to the Holocaust, tying the actions of Israel to Judaism as a whole, and how anti-Semitic that is, and doing that, right? I know that you're doing that currently, but you should instead share this Macklemore music video. He's not trolling. This is a 45-year-old man. Your heart is in the right place, but no, I think that sharing the Macklemore music video is not going to be as important as like covering this issue for the past 7.5 fucking months and tackling every avenue. Why he is not boycotting? I don't know what you're talking about. He's wholesome in a funny way. I know. I'm not yelling at them.
A road in Raul's name. The story of the...
Why are you hating on the song so much? Because a lot of no need to try and attack me for saying something. No, I'm just laughing, man. I think it's cute that your heart is in the right place, as we acknowledged. It's just funny to think that like me addressing Joe Biden's like cynical weaponization of the Holocaust to defend Israel's current genocidal actions is less important than fucking sharing Macklemore's already viral pro-Palestinian song. And no, he's not cashing on some easy dollars. That's actually fucked up. He literally is donating all the proceedings of the song to UNRWA. So that's not true either. I think Macklemore is a good person. I think Macklemore is doing a good thing. I think that it's great that he made a song. I just think it's kind of cringe. That's it. He's just cringe. That's it. That's all it is. That's all my my gripe with this situation is. It's cringe. Is it? Like a lot of activist rap in that regard oftentimes becomes cringe. Kendrick Lamar actually is surprisingly not in that category, despite talking on intergenerational black trauma and many other issues that pertain to the black community and whatnot. Is it cringe because it's Macklemore, or is it just the song? A bit of both.
Power of a single person to put aside our differences, to see our common humanity, to stand up to hate and its ancient story of resilience from immense pain, persecution, to find hope, purpose, and meaning in life. We try to live in...
Come on, bro. You cannot compare Fortunate Son to Hind Hall. That's insane. Like, that is insane. Fortunate Son being an anti-war song, anti-Vietnam War song. Like, Fortunate Son's a fucking bop. It is a classic. It is a phenomenal work of art. It's not like, leftist Lin-Manuel Miranda. But like I said, it's good. It's good overall. I have no issues with it. It's wonderful. It's great. Fortunate Son sucks. I don't care. That's crazy. Okay, there's a lot of terrible takes flying in the chat. I don't want to come across like I'm antagonistic to Macklemore. I'm not. I think it's wonderful that he made a pro-Palestinian song. I really do. I think it's awesome. And plenty of people already love it. It's like popping off on TikTok. People are sharing it. People love it. People enjoy it. And it's great. I'm glad that they are. Let's continue.
Share with one another. That story endures. Let me close with this. I know these days of remembrance fall on difficult times. We all do well to remember. These days also fall during the month we celebrate Jewish American heritage. A heritage that stretches from our earliest days to enrich every single part of American life today. Great American, great Jewish American, named Tom Lantos used the phrase, "The veneer of civilization is paper thin. We are its guardians, and we can never rest." My fellow Americans, we must be those guardians. We must never rest. We must rise against hate, meet across the divide, see our common humanity, and God bless the victims and survivors of Shoah. May the resilient hearts, the courageous spirit, and the eternal flame of faith of the Jewish people forever shine their light on America and around the world. Pray God. Thank you all.
President Biden delivering a major speech on anti-Semitism, talking about the lessons of history that those...
Yeah. Do you think Joe's foreign policy of Israel gives him what? Points or seals the deal for re-election? No, I think it actually hurts. I think this is a tide shift. This is a overall tide shift in American politics where we're just completely dropping anyone under the age of 35 and their prospects of ever voting. Like, we're just literally saying, yeah, listen, the boomers are still maintaining the majority of wealth in this country. They have the majority of power in this country. So we only care about what they have to say in terms of voting. If you are literally fucking 40 years old, if you're an elderly millennial, like, maybe we'll give somewhat of a shit about Gen Xers, but if you're a fucking elderly millennial and you know, below, you're cooked. You might as well eat shit and fucking die. We don't give a shit. We will never do anything that actually is beneficial to you. We do not care about your votes. Eat shit and die. Fucking die. Literally, I don't care. No matter what happens to you, I do not give a fuck. Like, he just cares about the suburbs. The suburbs gave him the victory over Donald Trump last time. And I think it's a severe miscalculation. And I think it spells trouble for the future of this country and the future of politics in this country. And that's where we're at right now. Why you are not boycotting? What am I boycotting?
Those who are forgetting the lessons of the Holocaust, but of more recent history. Those who may be forgetting the lessons of October 7th and talking about Hamas as the aggressor in that attack. Also, the president talking about what we've seen on college campuses, the free speech, but also those who would utter harassing language toward Jewish students in some of those instances. We want to go straight to our senior White House correspondent, Gabe Gutierrez. Gabe, how long has this speech been coming?
Hi there, Lester. Well, what stuck out to me is what you mentioned, that the president really trying to draw the parallels here between the atrocities of the Holocaust and the horrors that unfolded.
America has now zero soft power in the Middle East. That's not true at all. An entire generation of Arabs have been severely radicalized. The American empire is slowly dying worldwide. I don't think that America has zero soft power in the Middle East. America still has all the fucking power in the Middle East. They literally could have personally just said, Israel, shut the fuck up. Stop it. Right now. Israel, stop it tomorrow on October 8th. And they would have shut this shit down. Okay? As far as the way it seems to the rest of the world, though, you're not wrong. It does seem like America can't rein in its fucking rabid attack dog.